Hello again, Year 9, and in today's lesson we are going to be looking at how we can adapt our short division method to allow us to divide by two-digit numbers. There are several different ways of doing this, so I am just going to teach you what I think is the easiest approach for dividing by a two-digit number. So since dividing by two-digit number is a little bit more time consuming, I thought we would just get straight into it today. If you've been able to print out the sheet, fantastic. If not, can you put the title in your book, Written Methods 8? Can you remember to put today's date down and the objective, divide by a two-digit number? So the method that we're going to use today is very similar to our short division method. Well, what made short division reasonably straightforward? It was the fact that some of us knew our times tables really well. Now, if you're dividing by a number like 14 or 22, I'm not expecting you to know your 14 or your 22 times table. I certainly don't know it, and if you said to me, what is 7 times 14, it would take me a while to work out that it's 98. I don't instantaneously know it, I am working it out in my head. So, we are going to look at doing 1778 divided by 14. We are going to set it out in a very similar way, but then we're going to use our 14 times table down the side of our page to help us out. So let's see how we set this one out. So just as before, I'm going to write 1778 divided by 14. And then in this box over here, I'm going to write down my 14 times table. And all I am doing is I am doing repeated addition. 14 add 14 is 28. If I add another 14, I'm not just keeping doubling, I'm adding another 14. Add 10, 38, add 4 more, 42. Add another 14, 56. Add another 14, 70. And I normally stop at 5 times my number because there is a way that I can make sure I've made no mistakes so far. Because I know that 5 times a number is the same as doing 10 times the number and then halving. Well, 14 times 10 is 140. And half of 140 is 70, so I am right so far. But I'm going to keep going until I get up to 10 times my number. So next is 84. Then I have 98. Add another 14 is 112. Another 14 is 126. And a final 14 is 140. And obviously that should match 10 times your number, so you have another check stage there. Now it is super important that you get this times table right if you are going to use it, because if this is incorrect, anything over here will then be wrong. So super important that you get your times table part right. Now I'm going to use the exact same process as I would do for a division by a number like 9 or smaller, but with this times table to help me. So I will say, how many times does 14 go into 1? And that doesn't. So I carry the remainder. How many times does 14 go into 17? Well, that is one lot of 14. And I've used 14 of 17, so there are 3 left. How many times does 14 go into 37? Well, I can't get as far as 42. The next one that I can do is 2 14s. So it goes in twice. So I have used 28 of the 37. So how many are left? Count up from 28 to 37. there are 9 remaining. So I'm just going to point out a very typical mistake that I sometimes see students make. They sometimes find the number that is closest to this and would put perhaps 3 there or a remainder 5. Okay, I haven't got enough to get up to 42, so I won't be counting from 42 to 37. So just make sure you use the right numbers today. So 14 went into 37 twice with 9 left over. And then 14 into 98, I can see is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times exactly. And again, all the questions that we do today will be whole exact answers. So the answer to 1778 divided by 14 is 127. Let's look at 2 further examples. So for my next example, I have 8,177, and I'm going to try dividing by 17. And of course, I don't know my 17 times table, so that is going to be my first thing to work out. I'm going to keep adding 17. So 17 and 17 is 34. Add another 17 is 51. Add another 17, 68. Add another 17 is 85. I'm just going to stop and check there. So I do 17 times 10, 170, and a half of 170 is 85. So I know I'm on the right track so far. Add another 17, 102. Add another 17, 119. 17 more would be 136. A further 17 is 153. And look, I've finished at 170, which is what I wanted. So the next step is how many 17s are in 8? And the answer to that is 0. And if you think about it, you're always going to have a 0 here today because you are dividing by a 2-digit number and this is just a single digit. So this is always going to be bigger today. So I need to carry all 8. Now, 17's into 81. I can't get as far as 85. So it must be 68. 4 17s. But the remainder is now getting quite large. What is the remainder if I've used 68 of 81? The remainder is 13. So sometimes here you might be carrying now a 2-digit number. So this now reads 137. How many 17s in 137? Well, I can get all the way to 136, which is 8 17s. That leaves me 1 left over, and 17 into 17 goes once. So the answer to that question is 481. For my final example, we have 6,576 divided by 16. So my 16 times table. So 16, 32, 48, 64, 80. Just adding 16 each time. Let's do that quick little check. 10 times 16 is 160. Half of 160 is 80. So that's sounding good. Let's keep adding 16. 96. 112. 128. 144, and finally 160. I'm happy that my times table is right, so I'm good to go. So 16 into 6 doesn't go. Carry 6. 16 into 65. Well, I can get as far as 4 16s, which is 64. Which leaves me 1 remainder. 16 into 17 goes once, with 1 left over. And 16 into 16 is 1 again. So the answer to this question is 411. Now, to try and make this exercise a little bit more manageable, I'm only giving you 6 questions to do. And most importantly, the first 3 questions you are dividing by 14, 17 and 16 again. And those you already have the times tables for because we did those in the examples. So you could pause the video here if you would like, or if you prefer, you can follow the link in my instructions to my PowerPoint and have a look at the questions on the slide. Try and get as many done as possible, please, but remember to use the last 5 minutes to check your answer. Tomorrow's lesson will be dedicated to just getting more practice at this topic. If you have any problems, you can send me a message in the Ask the Teacher channel.